Welcome to the Digital Forge podcast. Today we're inside one of Sheffield's most historic institutions, the Assay office. My guest is Ashley Carson, Assay Master and Chief Executive. Ashley joined the Assay office in 1977 as a teenager and went on to become the youngest ever Assay Master at just 32. Today, he's the longest serving with nearly 5 decades of experience. In this first part, we'll hear Ashley's life story, his remarkable career in hallmarking, his leadership of the Assay office, and his surprising role in football with Sheffield Wednesday and Chesterfield. Ashley, welcome.
Thank you.
So, just tell us a little bit about your sort of early life, where you grew up. I think you were born in Sheffield, weren't you?
Yes, born and lived in Sheffield all my life. I was born in Beechif, Greenhill, that area of Sheffield, and grew up there. Greenhill Junior School, Infant Junior, and then on to Jordanthorpe School for secondary education.
Did you always know that you wanted to work at the Assay office?
No, not at all. I worked my way through school not really knowing. I don't think I was very enamoured with careers or anything. But then at the back of my mind, I did want to be a police officer.
Really?
And so I kind of looked at that. But unfortunately, at that time, it was kind of like, unless you got exceptional eyesight, you couldn't get in. There was kind of like zero tolerance on that, and I had a lazy eye. So I failed. I actually applied and failed the medical on my eyesight. So although one eye was absolutely perfect, the fact the other one wasn't. So I got knocked back on that, and so no, just going through the motions, going through school, and came out with 1 GCSE in English, and that was it.
Really?
Unfortunately, yeah.
Well, I mean, we've spoken to plenty of successful people at the Digital Forge, and to be honest, it's 50-50 whether education is important to them or not. And clearly, you're a prime example of somebody that maybe wasn't that academic, but was good at life skills and things necessary to be successful in business. Maybe we'll come on to that later. So you left school. What did you do? What happened?
So if you rewind a little bit until I was about I was 14, and my mother had got a job at the Sheffield Assay office, and she was promoted to laboratory manager, senior assayer in the business, and I just got jobbed in the school holidays, just going down to the Assay office, Portobello Street. Was in charge of the responsibility of going and picking up the daily sandwiches from the sandwich shop for the staff, of which at the time there was 22 staff in the business, and sweeping the yard, cleaning the boss's big ugly Volvo that was outside, and just that kind of thing really, just part of the team. And I used to go in for probably 2 or 3 weeks in the school holidays and just earn a little bit of spending money, which has got my first kind of insight really into what the Assay office was all about.
We're going to get into this a lot later, but in sort of layman's terms, just tell us what the Assay office, what it does, what its purpose is.
So an Assay office set up by an Act of Parliament. You can't just open the doors and say, I'm in Assay office, come and bring your articles here and we'll hallmark them. You need to be set up by an Act of Parliament. There are 4 Assay offices in the country, and the Hallmarking Act states that if you are in the course of trade or business and you are working with precious metals and describing those articles that you either make or you sell as gold, silver, platinum or palladium, then you have to, by law, submit those articles to one of the 4 Assay offices in the country for hallmarking.
And that's always been the case. So in the 70s when you were coming down here, and
that was a legal requirement. At that time, gold and silver, platinum in 1975, and then palladium in 1991.
Okay. So So you've finished school. You've got your GCSE in English. Well done. You failed to get into the police force because of eyesight. Did you just fall into the Assay office? What happened?
So yeah, at that time, I was in with some mates, and we'd all managed to get our mopeds, and I'd got my Yamaha FS1A, the Yamaha Fizzy, and coming to the end of school, say I got the moped, and I'd got my eyes on a Yamaha RD200, but of course couldn't afford it. My mum, single parent, my mum and dad divorced when I was 12. Mum couldn't afford to help finance one or anything, and it was 1977. It was the Silver Jubilee, and this year there was a commemorative hallmark where Her Majesty's head was could be placed onto an article, and it was also the year of the dog tag pendant. So the medallion man, the silver ingots, everybody was wearing them. And there was a particular manufacturer in Sheffield, Roncar, and the Car's silver ingots. And they were being submitted into the Assay office in their 1,000. And business was booming for Sheffield Assay office, and they were recruiting full-time jobs. And so I decided that I would apply for a job in the Assay office and have a go at hallmarking.
So it's 1977. It's the Queen's Jubilee. You need a new motorbike. You come in. Tell us about the interview.
So the Assay Master at the time, Mr. Johnson, and he was an ex-school teacher, physics school teacher from Rowlinson School, and he took over the Assay office. His parents worked there, and so I'd known him, and obviously I'd cleaned his car on many occasions, and I applied for the job, wrote the letter. My mum took the letter in, and I was invited in. I went into his office and sat down in front of him, and his first words were, "First of all, Ashley, you've got the job." So that was kind of like the interview went out of the window. For the next half hour, I guess he kind of just gave me a pep talk and a lecture about values of working within the Assay office, work hard. Very much really trying to encourage me to better myself as well. 1 O-level. So I got the job, and I immediately started off doing applying hallmarks, silver ingots. There was a machine that they at the time they brought in from the Sheffield Smelting Company, and its purpose was just to set the machine up and just produce ingots all day long with big hallmarks on them, and that's what I did all year. Just applied hallmarks. But in the background, I thought to myself, I need to get some more qualifications. Not really had any advice or anything, so I ended up going to night school and came out from there with O-level photography, which was really useful.
What made you do photography?
I did enjoy photography. And I did have a very, very basic kind of camera. And my dad was always a good photographer as well, with 35 milli cameras. So I kind of thought, well, I'll go and have a go. And I found it quite easy, really. And so it was, I was always more practical, and kind of got a good eye, really, for taking photographs.
So you're 17. You've got your job. It was de facto that you got the job. It's interesting. We can come to this in a second, but you've worked for the same company for a number of years, and you very rarely see that now. We're going to talk about what an Assay Master is in a little while, but what jobs in the build up to that have you done here? Just take us through how you got to be the Assay Master.
So I'd been there probably 2 years, and I'd done the marking, and then I was quite interested in the sampling. So at that time, there was a gold department, there was a silver department. So I was kind of predominantly based in the gold department, And then I started looking at the sampling and the way that they actually remove the metal from items. In those days, it was all chemical processes, so you physically had to remove the metal. And a lot of the articles that came in were all unfinished. So big industry in Sheffield, silvers, a lot of silver, anything from teapots, loads of silver cutlery coming in. So I had a go at doing the testing, and then I just thought, I actually like this. And I then spoke to the Assay Master, and he said, why don't you go and do some silversmithing? And at that time, the college in Sheffield, Salter Lane, wasn't very good. And so I ended up living in Beechworth. I went to Chesterfield College of Art and did 4 years City and Guilds in silversmithing. And that was on a Monday. So I was there for 9 o'clock in the morning and I left at 9 o'clock at night. And that was every Monday, day release, for 4 years. And I guess I kind of found my true destiny, really. I became Student of the Year.
Really?
I produced my own pieces. I made from a flat piece of silver, I made a coffee pot, sugar bowl, cream jug. Had a piece commissioned for the Sheffield City Council for their collection. And, it was all right, but that kind of gave me a really good base of understanding of how pieces were made, the construction, and then getting to know about all the things to do with like solders and all the technical consents then with hallmarking. So really kind of started to emerge, I guess, from within the staff. Couple of promotions within the office then, so I ended up with my own department, working on second-hand items that were sent in. I ended up being production manager. I then started to get interested in computers, so I became the computer manager, put computers in the days of the floppy disks, and so I learnt all about that kind of thing, and then did other courses. So, it's not sitting back and then start just doing small courses, a year course here and there, and getting some more qualifications.
Do you think that school, as in secondary school, high school, do you think it let you down? Because it's incredible to me that you can go from essentially what the school system would call almost a failed student, I'm not being disrespectful, to then being Student of the Year within 2 years. I mean, they just don't deal with people like you, do they?
I did. I did really enjoy the woodworking and the metalwork departments, and I did seem to have kind of an underlying skill for eye for perfection as well. And when you get a file and file something, file it smooth and get all the edges clean and tidy and that sort of thing. So I kind of got an eye for that, but I was never given any guidance or any options at work. At school, in terms of where to kind of channel those skills. Yeah,
it's becoming a hot subject now, of course, with the advent of artificial intelligence that is automating so many jobs, particularly in the legal profession and accounting profession and other things that basically operate with a rule book. And I just don't think they know what to do. And actually, you're a really good example of after you left school that you found what you were really good at and you excelled at it. And if only school would have given you that opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, I do kind of regret in some ways not going to university. I think, but there again, if I'd have gone to university...
But did you need to?
My son went to Manchester University and never ever came back to Sheffield. My sister went to Leeds University and she now lives in Kent. So, by the fact that I did what I did, I stayed in Sheffield as well. And if I hadn't have done that, I would probably never stayed at the Assay office either.
I'm going to come to this now, but not going to university didn't do you any harm, because at 32 in 1993, you became the youngest ever Assay Master. Now, just because people will not be familiar, what does an Assay Master do, and how the hell did you become the youngest ever?
I guess an Assay Master is they're the figurehead, and they are the legally, I swear an oath to say that every item that bears a Sheffield hallmark will comply with the Hallmarking Act of 1973. So there is a legal responsibility there. My staff conduct all the testing, and as we've seen today, but at the end of the day, it's my name that goes against that. So if we ended with something where we inadvertently put the wrong hallmark on it, or we pass something that shouldn't have passed, the legal responsibility comes back on the Assay Office, and we would have to make that compensation or make it good, so that anybody that gets something that's got a Sheffield hallmark on that is not what it's purported to be would never ever suffer by that. Not that it's ever happened, but it's that kind of responsibility. It's also in effect the chief exec of the organisation as well, so totally in charge of the day-to-day running of the Assay Office.
So just on this responsibility and the importance of hallmarking, when we were downstairs, and you can, we're going to have a separate video on YouTube that you can watch where Ashley and I walk around, and he describes what's going on on the actual shop floor. But they were testing a gold bottle, or what was purported to be a silver bottle, and to my shock, while we were watching live, it was actually copper. It wasn't silver at all. And one of the discussions that then ensued was just how much stuff out there isn't gold, isn't silver, isn't what it purports to be. And people are getting ripped off, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely. If you buy something that hasn't got a hallmark on it, then it is a risk. There are certain items that are exempt from hallmarking. For instance, like if it's a silver item under 7.78 grams, it is exempt from hallmarking. You can still have it hallmarked, but some companies would decide that if they don't have to have it hallmarked, then they wouldn't get it hallmarked.
Where do you see most of this sort of, and it is fraudulent activity, it's people saying something's gold and it's not gold, or saying it's silver and it's not silver. Whereabouts do you see most of that stuff? Where should people, sort of some practical advice, where should people look out and be careful?
I mean, there's quite... There are items that are made in the UK that people will try and defraud, but we tend to see a lot comes from abroad. There's some of the Turkish jewellery that comes in we have issues with. We have issues with some of the Indian jewellery that comes into us. Spain as well. People go on holiday to Tenerife. They'll go and buy a gold chain. They'll get the sunburn. They'll go out in the evening. They'll have a couple of beers. They'll buy a gold chain off somebody, bring it back to the UK, and it's nowhere near. It's never seen gold. So there are times when people, in a moment of madness, they think they can get a bargain, and the reality is it's never a bargain.
And what about eBay and Etsy and places like this where you see gold, so this too good to be true price of a silver chain or a gold necklace or a gold bracelet?
I mean, I think in fairness that the people like eBay, they are, and Amazon's, they are trying to help and try to close the gap on this kind of thing, but unfortunately it is still like the Wild West out there, and you really do take your chance with some of these items and you get caught out all the time. It's very scary what's happening on, and it's very difficult trying to regulate it as well, because the Hallmarking Act relates to transactions in the UK. So again, when you're buying something online, and you kind of know where these items are coming from some of the time as well, because they'll quote you maybe 3 to 4 weeks delivery or something on it as well. It's coming from China. There's no control on it at all. You see where the transactions are going to. A lot of them are not going through a transaction in the UK. So again, the money's going outside the UK. The items are outside the UK. And when they come in, they're not what they're purported to be. But it's very difficult at that point actually pinning a prosecution on anybody and finding out where they've come from. So it's very, very risky when you do it. We're in the middle at the moment. We're doing a test purchase on some items. Bought them all as sterling silver, some really nice bracelets, sterling silver. We've tested them all here, and they're all base metal.
Wow. And just give us, what's the financial impact of that? If you bought them, what would the value of that,
well,
that job lot be?
Some of these items are kind of mirroring like Pandora bracelets.
Yeah.
So you've got some really nice bracelets with all the beads on and everything. So something like that you'd be paying £500 for, and these items are worth probably £2.
So there is an incentive actually for these fraudsters to do this. But
yeah.
So it's one of those things that you just sort of take the hallmark and the Assay office for granted, but it actually is. It's been around for 250 years and still here for a reason.
That's Sheffield. I mean, hallmark per se, it's the oldest form of consumer protection. And it dates back to the 1300s when the London Assay office opened. And in 2027, the London Assay office will be celebrating its 700th anniversary.
700 years?
And that's when hallmarking began.
Wow.
We're the new boys, 252 years.
You know the kind of conversations we have here, honest, ambitious and focused on what's really shaping the future of UK industry. Now, imagine taking them even further. That's exactly what the Digital Forge membership is about. This isn't just another network, it's a proving ground where connection, knowledge and opportunity collide. As a member, you'll unlock exclusive events and curated networking with serious builders, a private community platform for real-time support, and a content and knowledge hub packed with insights you won't find anywhere else. Plus, you'll gain access to exclusive discounts and the chance to learn directly from mentors and seasoned founders who've already walked the path. Everything we do is built on trust, clarity and intent. No noise, no theatre, just the right conditions for progress. So if you're ready to join the future of UK industry and step into a community built to accelerate growth, join other members at forgedforgrowth.com.
So you have to, because of the responsibility of this, you have to keep up. And when we did the tour downstairs, I was really surprised at the impact of technology, and you've overseen some quite big changes here. Not least, actually, moving the offices from its traditional home in the centre of the city to here. Just talk a little bit about that as a whole, about how technology is influencing things here and the office move.
Yeah, I mean we've moved 4 times in the history of the office. We started off at the top of Fargate, which I think used to be the Yorkshire Bank, which is no longer there. The next office after that, the building is still there. It's on Leopold Street, and we were in the building where All Bar One is now. And then we moved to Portobello Street in the 1960s, and we were there until 2008. And it just became unworkable, the building. And it was also right in the heart of where the universities are, and they were doing more pedestrianisation. And we'd extended the building over 4 or 5 different projects, and it just got totally unworkable. And so we took the decision to sell up in the city centre and move out here into Hillsborough into a purpose-built, of which we took residency in 2008. And it was without a doubt was one of the best things that we ever did, and one of the best decisions to make, to have a building now where we're currently hallmarking close to 2 million items a year through here. And in any one day, we could hallmark up to 7,500 items a day through the office. So it's a very efficient factory, I guess, in a way. But it's not a factory. We're dealing with really expensive items through here. So we're in kind of like if you see on the video, it's an extremely clinical process that we do.
And what I hadn't appreciated, actually, and it's now totally obvious to me, this building's extremely secure, and it needs to be, because obviously you're handling precious metals. And I dare say that it was hard in previous buildings to get the level of security that you've got here. Yeah,
it's. I think it's fair to say as well, technology changes all the time. And one of the main things that we try to achieve here as well is turn the work round pretty much in a day or as soon as possible. So the end result is that there's very little actually left in the building overnight as well. So it's a process. We don't want to hold on to the pieces too long. We need to get them back to the customer so they can get them sold as well. One of our customers is one of the satellite selling jewellery channels on Sky, and the law around selling on Sky is that you physically have to have the items in stock in your warehouse before you can offer them sale online on the programmes. So again, when the things come in here, it has to be turned around extremely quickly to get it back to them, because they'll have got all these programmes scheduled to start selling the items. If we take too long, then they have to cancel scheduling and the presenters and everything else. So we have to achieve those very, very tight turnaround schedules.
So what do you think your biggest achievement's been as Assay Master? What are you most proud of?
I think I'm most proud of the staff. Certainly the technology, but in fairness, all the Assay officers have now moved into the same and similar technology that we use. XRF testing, the non-destructive testing, also the laser marking that we do. The other Assay officers all use laser technology, but it's the staff that we invest in, and I kind of guess over the years as well, we're like a big family. So everybody here gives 110%. Great. At the end of the day, we're in the sticks in Sheffield. We haven't got Hatton Garden, which London can enjoy on their doorstep. We haven't got the jewellery quarter that Birmingham's got, and then Edinburgh. If you've got the tourists in Edinburgh, you want a Scottish hallmark on something. You want the town mark of the castle. You don't want a Sheffield hallmark. So we can't go after that work. So we have to work extremely hard to entice people from outside the Sheffield area to come and send the work to Sheffield for hallmarking. So we have an extremely highly skilled staff that apply fantastic hallmarks and turn it around really quickly and good to deal with. So that's kind of like what I've instilled in my staff here, and that's kind of reputation that we've got now, which I'm really proud of.
So on that and some of the brands that you work with, Bulgari, De Beers, but also in small independent jewellers and craftswomen here in Sheffield, how important is it to have that balance of both? And just talk about how you support local designers and makers.
The local trade is really important to us, and I think the way that we have moved in Sheffield is into the specialist silver, the crafts, the manufacturers and the design that is achieved in Sheffield. Whether it's Yorkshire Art Space that you've got Sheffield Hallam University that with their the graduates that come out from there. A lot of them are staying in the city, and I think that's really important that we support that in any way that we can. Tomorrow night I've got some awards to present at Sheffield Hallam University. This will be the 30th consecutive year that we have sponsored the end-of-year awards to Sheffield Hallam University. Something, again, that I'm very proud of, that we can support that. But yeah, we've got some amazing people that make, whether it's one article that they make, you've got really successful businesses that will make trophies. We've got people that make, on the wall in here, we've got one of the St Ledger trophy presented a couple of weeks ago. That was all made in Sheffield, hallmarked in Sheffield. So, really proud of everything that goes on in Sheffield with those individual designers and craftspeople.
So just switching gears, you've been involved in football now for a few years, both Sheffield Wednesday and Chesterfield. How did all that come about?
So I guess really it was... initially it started off that we were sponsoring games at Sheffield Wednesday and taking customers along, hospitality. there's something about hospitality and football, whatever it is. We had some really good days out entertaining customers, and we were doing quite a lot of sponsorship at the time, and I just got more interested in what went on behind the scenes. I ended up with a box at Hillsborough, and just got more and more talking to directors in there, and then ultimately the owner, Dave Allen, and he was the chairman at the time, and we got talking, and before I knew it, I ended up becoming part of the board, getting more involved. For my part, I was looking after the academy, working with the academy manager there, who was Sean McCauley at the time, and then things developed from there. It's kind of one of those drugs that you get drawn into more and more. Still doing my day job, getting more and more involved with Sheffield Wednesday, which ultimately things changed there, probably for the worst. I was no longer a director there, and then ended up at Chesterfield Football Club with Dave Allen. And I think the lesson to be learnt from that is that it's absolutely nothing like running a business. Just the whole dynamics, the amount of things that's outside your control within a football club. It's very, very different.
The fans didn't like you very much at Chesterfield, did they?
Yeah, it's one way to put it. Yeah.
What did they used to?
Well, it's first of all you've got the rivalry between Sheffield Wednesday, Sheffield United, and you got Chesterfield as well, and it was very difficult. In the early days, it was great because we had all the success, but we brought a Sheffield Wednesday legend into Chesterfield, John Sheridan, who delivered success, and we got trophies, and everything was really good. But within football, at all levels, success isn't a given. Doesn't matter how much money you spend, and it doesn't always work out. And it didn't work out for a lot of reasons. And in the end, it became just a total nightmare. And eventually the club got sold. But all I'd say is that I would like to think that I helped get the club sold to the right people, and that was the trust. So it went back to the fans, in effect, which was the right thing to do, which kind of made amends a little bit, but left him it was not a great position to be left in, but there are other clubs out there that suffered similar things, and even if you look in all levels in the Premier League, there are clubs now that think they should be in the top 6 and they're not.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? The minute that you sort of cross from being a fan into the sort of management side of football, the entire view of it changes because you know too much. You know what's going on with the finances. You know why a certain player can't play because they've just split up with their girlfriend or whatever it is, and it becomes less fun, I think. And also one of the biggest misconceptions I think you can summarise. I think Milan Mandaric, who I got to know pretty well, once told me that the way to become a millionaire out of football is you're a billionaire and then you go and buy a football club, because it's a very expensive game, and the supporters for some reason always think that you're on the take or you're not putting enough money in and all of this stuff. But it is a tough old business, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's fair to say that Chesterfield fans thought the same about me, that we're taking the money out, and that I didn't care about the club. It made it to the end. At the end of it all, it made me ill because I'm still trying to run the Assay office. Obviously, you take your eye off the ball with that because you get totally engulfed with the football club, and then the moment that you sack a manager, you get absolutely inundated with phone calls from agents, from people that want to become the next manager, and all these CVs coming in, and it's absolutely, it's a crazy situation, and it's very, very difficult. Would I want to go back into it again? No, not at all. I go back and watch football now, but that's not enjoyable at the moment. But it's very difficult. But it's not an enjoyable position to have, really, when you think that it's great to go to. It's definitely not.
Do you regret it?
Yeah, I do in a lot of ways. And it takes over your life. I mean, I was going to every game home and away with Chesterfield. There's people you become friends with that you end up falling out with over it. It's cost friendships within the football, and I think I'd have been better off not going down that route. I should have probably quit when I left it at Sheffield Wednesday. I should have called it a day, really.
Yeah.
It's interesting. It's probably write a book about it, but might be best if I don't.
Yeah, it's interesting, and thanks for the honesty on that, Ashley. I know we've spoken about it before, but yeah, it's a rough old business. So when you're not running the Assay office, what do you like doing? What's your personal stuff? I know you like walking, hiking.
Yeah, just outdoor things. I do a lot of walking. Get the dog out there and do some nice walks, like doing the coastal paths as well. Favourite around the Whitby area and Northumberland as well. Cars. I've kind of slowed down on the fast cars, but...
What's the fastest car you ever had? Come on.
I think probably the best one was probably the Porsche 911 Turbo S. Aston Martin's pretty good, but the 911 was probably the best for the handling. The worst car I would say was probably the Lamborghini Gallardo. That was probably the worst car that I had. In some ways, the one I probably regretted selling was the Bentley convertible.
Yeah.
Beautiful car.
Yeah. Bentleys are just made so well. It's the best car I ever had. It was Continental. Yeah, they were just beautiful cars.
Great car. But my other passion is car cleaning. I really am OCD with car cleaning, and about 3 years ago I took a 5-day car valeting course. So I did the whole valet thing, I did all the detailing, get the buffing machines, I can buff all the paintwork.
Seriously?
Yeah, get all the... So kind of like, it goes back to my silversmithing days when I was polishing all the silver. I now get the buffer out and just polish usually the scratches that the wife's got on her car from bad parking. But that's kind of a passion of mine as well. You can't beat a clean car, although... At this moment in time, it's a massive frustration with having the hosepipe ban on. It's torture.
So, Ashley, that's been an absolutely fascinating canter from Sheffield schoolboy to Assay Master, Lamborghinis, Porsches. Not bad for a guy that left school with 1 GCSE in English. Leading one of the city's most historic institutions and even making it into the world of football as well. But... in the 1980s, you in the Assay office suddenly found yourselves connected to one of the most notorious crimes in British history, a robbery so audacious it became known as the crime of the century. In 2 weeks' time, in part 2 of our conversation, we'll return to November 1983 when 6 armed men raided a Brinksmat warehouse near Heathrow and stole £26 million in gold bullion. And we'll hear how some of that gold ended up here in Sheffield. Thanks, Ashley. Right.
What if your aligner system could drive more profit for your dental business? With PureTech Clear Aligners, our AI-powered software delivers instant smile previews. Our custom aligners, proudly made in Sheffield, arrive in just days, not weeks. Patient wait times are reduced with localised labs, and our revolutionary technology offers smoother workflows, higher conversions and happier patients. Be part of the future of aligner care. Start your pilot today at puretech.ai. PureTech Aligners. Smile brighter, smile sooner.